Good morning, everybody. Yes, good morning. It's a early morning Elite FPL calling radio show with myself, Stevo, and it's the classic line of, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I've got a couple of hours spare, and I want to do a live stream because, as I keep saying, I like to have days to myself, and doing the night streams can be a bit frustrating. So what I will say is that I'm really hoping that I don't get any issues regarding overheating of laptops and various other meltdowns like yesterday. Basically, for anybody that doesn't know, I started a solo stream last night at 6 PM, but I had to cut it short because basically everything just wouldn't work whatsoever due to the heat. Today, however, it's still absolutely boiling. I think it's going to end up being 24, 25 degrees today, but there's no sun out, it's cloudy, but it's absolutely boiling. I mean, I've just come home from gym, and yeah, I was just absolutely sweating buckets just creating the thumbnail, which I like the thumbnail today. I think it's a bit different, it's a bit unique. It's, like I said, it's aimed at our Australia, New Zealand fans, or maybe even, you never know, maybe if there's any Chinese, Japanese fans out there of this stream that wants to come live on air, by all means, you join in, have a chat with me about your team, get things off your chest, discuss all things fantasy football. Obviously, we did a stream last night. It feels only like 10 minutes ago that we did it. I actually did just listen back to it. And yeah, and just 2 seconds, I need to close the window because it's just really... I've said it before and I'll say it again. I live in a street which is like in a very quiet area, but it's like the world's busiest street, and it drives me up the blinking wall, the amount of activity that happens. But yeah, me and Jason did a live stream last night, and it feels like only 10 minutes ago that we did it, but I did listen back and everything. And a very enjoyable podcast as per normal, and as ever, got plenty of ideas coming out of it, and yeah, really enjoyed it. So yeah, I know there's a couple of people in the chat at the moment. I'm fully aware this is an early morning stream, but maybe I can keep you company on your drive into work, you know. So yeah, let's go and see what's happening in the chat. Let's find out. The forum is yours, by the way. So I want to talk to you guys. I don't really want to be doing that much talking, so let's find out what's 8 PM in it. Brilliant. Daily Llama, I've just seen like I said 8 PM when reality is that I meant 8 AM. That's what happens when that's what happens when you have auto text on your phone and you don't really look and nothing's actually coherent. Let's have a quick check of what I actually put up. Yes, 8 PM on Twitter I accidentally put. Oh well, what a shame. Anyway, as we all know, these specific streams are for the hardcore Elite FPL audience at the moment, and so yeah, and Nasty Balls, welcome to the stream. Hello there. Hello Ryan Sheeran. Theo Athens, it's 5 PM in Australia, perfect time. FPL Yeah Pitch, good morning to you. And Phil Potter, morning Steve, I was thinking about something you said that made some adjustments. Please elaborate on what you mean. I'd be very interested to know what specifically I have made you think about something within your team which has made you make some adjustments. Interestingly enough, I'm going to make a live adjustment to the team in front of you right now. So at the moment, the team in front of you, morning Shane McGuinness there. If anybody wants to come live on the Discord, just hit me up right now. You may as well jump in right now because, you know, at the end of the day, this is your platform, your forum, so... Yeah, Resi Dazzle, good morning to you. Just finished watching last night's stream. So did I. I finished watching that as well. Only about 20 minutes ago. But, yeah, if anybody wants to come into the, Discord chat, then by all means, get on board. yeah, so the team in front of you right now, I was playing around with yesterday, and I was quite happy with it, to be honest with you. I'm going to make a couple of adjustments based on information received yesterday. For example, the new bandwagon in Jota, although admittedly, let's be honest here, Jota is a top-notch player, and with the information that FPL Booner gave me yesterday regarding the fact that Josh King hasn't played barely any minutes in pre-season, I think that the easiest decision is to bring in Wolves' Jota, who of course scored last night in their 2-0 win against Crusaders in their Europa League qualifying game. Diego Jota, they're scoring. It looks like they are going to be sticking with that 3-5-2 formation. So yeah, definitely to look out for. And I know we've seen it a million times before. I'll bring it up again. Wolves' fixtures, they don't look the best, but we all know how well Wolves perform against the harder opposition, i.e. in Man United. They did very well against United last season, Everton and Chelsea at home. In fact, do you know what I'm going to do? The good thing is that, so I don't know if anybody knows of this specific website, but I use a website called whoscored.com. I'm sure many of you are aware of the specific science. I think it's fantastic. The only annoying thing is that it's just constantly always coming up with do you accept this site has cookies? Like, every page you go on, it's absolutely mental, and I've kind of stopped using it because of that. So if anybody from whoscored.com is watching this, sort it out, because it drives me up the flaming wall. But do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look over Wolves' previous results last season against the harder opposition who they've got upcoming. So we're talking Leicester, Man U, Everton and Chelsea. Because if you remember, last year, basically, Wolves just couldn't perform against the weaker opposition. I mean, they lost to Huddersfield twice. They certainly lost to us, I know that much. And I think they drew with us as well. Terrible results for Wolves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly go over Wolves' results last year versus the respective harder teams, and let's find out exactly how well they did. I know it was really, really good what they did last year versus the top teams. So here we go. Oh no, they beat us last year. They beat us 1-0. Sorry, I'm a Burnley fan. For any new listeners out there, I'm a Burnley fan. So Man United away, they drew 1-1. And when they played United at home, it actually ended 2-1 to Wolves. So that's the first hard game, so to speak, versus Man United for Wolves, and they actually won at home 2-1. I mean, their opening fixture versus Leicester, they actually lost 2-0. So Leicester actually won at home 2-0, and of course that's Wolves' opening game of the season away at Leicester. Maybe that could be good news for Leicester owners, but when we look at Everton, for example, if I try and find out where Everton are within this thing here, there's just so many fixtures to look through. So Wolves won 3-1, and in fact Wolves' game away at Everton, which is what's their first fixture at Everton, it's away. They actually won 3-1 in the fixture last season. So there we are. And then Chelsea, Wolves at home to Chelsea. I'm sure Chelsea lost there. I can't remember now. It's just trying to find. Yeah, Wolves beat Chelsea 2-1. So certainly worth looking into. And like I said, with Wolves' new formation and everything, happy day. So yeah, I'm going to put in Jota. And the other news that's coming out from the Leicester camp is Perez potentially injured and may not be starting game week 1. Again, whatever you want to read into it, but as we all know, it's a simple swap. And who was up? There was somebody that phoned in last night, and again, I apologise. It may have even been FPL Booner that said this, but they were saying that in pre-season, Tielemans is looking really, really good. And to be honest with you, I'm a huge advocate of Tielemans. So I am going to put Tielemans in my team. Wow, I'm running very, very high. Sorry, Jason, I have to put the fan on because, well, like I said, because I can, and as ever, the CPU is going through the roof at the moment, so I apologise if there are any technical issues. Everything seems to be okay on my laptop. Yesterday, I knew there were issues slash problems because, quite simply put, nothing would work on my laptop, but at the moment, it's all okay. But let's just make the transfers, confirm them. But yeah, I was just listening, like I said, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were saying about playing the fixtures rather than going throughout the whole season, as if like nobody does transfers. And I always fall into that category of playing the game as if I'm choosing players for the whole season, rather than actually thinking about, hold on a minute, you've got the opportunity to swap these players out. And I initially had 3 attacking Bournemouth players, as you just saw. I just think their 2 opening fixtures are fantastic, but there is this burning thought. It's not even my thought process. I've stolen it from Boa Rice, and I know that FPL Little Saints, who's an Arsenal fan, has he stolen this idea from Boa Rice? I don't know, but there's a thought process that actually maybe we could bring in Aubameyang as an example for the opening fixtures or so for Newcastle away and Burnley at home. Take him out and bring in Vardy for game week 3 onwards, but also in defence. So basically what I'll do is I'll show you exactly what Boa Rice / Little Saints are thinking of doing. Blimey. I think I may have to cut this stream short. I mean, can people tell me in the chat if everything's running okay, please? Because if it is, then I'll happily continue. If not, then I don't want to continue, because the CPU is like going from, I'm no tech expert, I don't have a clue, but based on what Jason has told me, if you're approaching like really, really high numbers, then you want to just cut everything. Well, okay, everybody's telling me it's fine, so I'm just going to continue talking to Boa Rice. There he is. Welcome to the stream. Hello, blimey, there's a lot of people now joining in. Hello, everybody that is here. Brett Mollison, welcome. I'm glad I can keep you company on your travels. He's just saying that it's 3 p.m. where he is, and I'm just keeping him company. So, Nasty Paul's making a very amusing point. Everything looks good apart from the Norwich sub on your bench, yes. Although a 4 million, it looks like a 4 million starting defender. So, I'll happily. But yeah, let's just show you guys exactly what Boa Rice is pretty much thinking of doing. So, for example, initially, he would get rid of, what is it? It'd be Wilson as an example, and Laporte. Bring in, Aubameyang. So let's bring him in for a second. By the way, I'm hoping the fan isn't affecting your listening. Audio issues is the word, and then we'll bring in. Do you know, I'm liking this plan. I said to Boa Rice and I said to Little Saints, I'm actually seriously thinking of stealing it. And as FPL Boona said last night, Ake's attacking threat against these rubbish teams. In fact, I may be able to. No, I won't be able to do it. I was going to say I was going to try and see how Ake could fit. Okay, I'm minus 1.5. I mean, I can just toggle around with something for a second, but the long and the short of it is this: Boa Rice would have Aubameyang and Ake for their easy opening 2 fixtures, and then by game week 3, he would just swap these 2 out and then bring in Vardy and Trent, a premium defender. In his case, it was Trent Alexander-Arnold. Again, I'm fully aware I'm 1.5 out at the moment, but that's just the basic idea, and I really, really like that full process. I like the way he's thinking, basically. Let's just quickly get in chat. I wonder if there is actually anybody in... There are people in Discord, so do you know what? What I'll do first is I know Phil's... In fact, do you know what? I'm going to do something unique. Okay, so Phil is in chat in the waiting room, and so is Ozzy Boy FPL. I'm going to deliberately bring in both of you at the same time. So I'm going to be honest with you. Got my vegetables. There you are. And yeah, I want to eat for a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on Ozzy Boy, and I'm going to bring on Phil. Now I know that Phil said that I changed his mind about something. So Phil and Ozzy Boy, make sure that the stream is turned off or put on mute so we don't get any feedback, and we will get you live on air in just a few seconds. I just need to put my headphones in and we get both on live on air. So Ozzy Boy and Phil, you are live on the Elite FPL call-in. Good morning to you both.
Morning, Steve-O.
Hello, Steve-O.
So, Ozzy Boy, I'll come to you first. How long have you got to stay with us before you have to leave for a family?
Well, I think I should be good for half an hour, 45 max, but probably like half an hour.
Brilliant.
Maximum.
And so Phil, you said I gave you an idea last night regarding changing something within your team. What have I given you?
Well, previously I had Trent and Van Dijk as the Liverpool double up in defence, and then you were saying about keeping them all separate. So now I've got 5 separate teams in defence and Fabianski.
What do you mean, sorry?
Because you were saying about you were seeing the teams that have had like double Liverpool and double Man City. So now if you go to Discord, my team's in the Rate My Team.
Right, okay.
I'll have a look.
Let's bring this team up here, shall we? Brilliant. Whereabouts did you post it?
Recently, about 10 minutes ago.
Ah, right, yes.
Oh, no, Salah. Yeah.
Ah, right. So let's bring up Phil's team here. I know this is going to annoy Nick Reed me eating, but sorry. So let's have a look at this team, shall we? So this is Phil's team at the moment. It's Fabianski in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Digne, Davies, and Wan-Bissaka. Straight away I'm liking that. De Bruyne, Sigurdsson, Fraser, Lucas Moura, Aubameyang, and Wilson. So that is very, very, very different. And like Ozzy Boys just said, no Salah and no Sterling, but I think it's the Salah one that links out. But yeah, just if you want to just go through your team again and why you've done this.
Well, my plan is if I've got 6 different defenders, then I've potentially got 6 different clean sheets to come in.
Right.
And all the players are fairly attacking players as well. Assists, goal potential.
I definitely agree with the thing where you have the different teams in defence.
Because I've seen some of these teams at the moment that you had double Man City, and there was one on last night. They had double Man City and double Liverpool. 2 goals, and that's your weekend destroyed.
Yeah.
But I've got more. I'm gonna have more room for the 2 weeks, and then the plan will be to downgrade likely Aubameyang, possibly all the way to Greenwood. So then bring in Son for game week 3. I know Fraser's got Man City game week 3, but I don't really want to get rid of him because I'm just going to want him back probably for some of the other games.
I've just noticed your bench. Amazing. Wesley, Mings, and Jorginho. So you're somebody that wants 3 definite starting players on your bench.
I just don't want to be coming to a situation where I get a game week and I've got to take a -4, -8, because then it's just do my head in and I'll end up rage transferring people all the time.
But wouldn't you? I just have an idea. Wouldn't you like put Jorginho down to Dendonka, and then you can like get someone like Digne up to Laporte. Is just an idea because Dendonka looks like he's pretty nailed on. And I saw some stat today talking about how he doesn't really look like he's being a defensive midfielder anymore.
The only reason I've got him in at the moment is because I've heard that he might be taking penalties as well.
Oh yeah. That's a good point.
Are you in agreement with me that a lot of teams are overlooking a playing bench?
Yeah, completely. One of the most popular benches is literally Greenwood, Nikita, and I think it's the guy you've got from Norwich. Is it Hanley or Healy?
Yes.
And so many people have got that bench. So they're all probably like planning to wild card in weeks 2 and 3. But even if you look at some of their teams going on to game week 2, they still need to make 3 or 4 changes to get a decent side up.
Were you I don't know if you listened to the stream last night or not, but Jason and FPL Boona were really talking up this Wesley of Aston Villa, especially after game week 1, where Aston Villa's basically fixtures turned for the good.
Oh yeah, those fixtures, man.
I think you've definitely got to have Wesley or the other Jota, but some people aren't too keen on him.
Yeah, FPL Boona was very confident in Jota this season, saying that he looked really, really good in the Championship and he looked really, really good in a pre-season game. So again, someone to watch.
How much are they?
6 million.
Oh, that's alright.
It's not bad, but
yeah, those fixtures, man, after that first game is insane. Like green, constant green.
Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? The one issue with your team, if anything, is Ben Davies regarding like maybe not starting. Does that not concern
you? Not when he's just signed a 3-4 year contract, isn't he?
That's correct. Yeah, 5 year in fact.
There they go. Should be up front with Kane then, shouldn't he? I don't know, but not last season, the season before, I think I said this the other day, he was one of the most prominent defenders in the league that year.
So, yeah, that's true.
So looking at this team now, I do actually, from something different from the FPL community template team, I genuinely really, really like it, barring the fact that you haven't got Salah, but it's the fact that you've got...
But then I could easily go Aubameyang down to Greenwood and then upgrade Fraser and Sigurdsson and get Sterling and Salah back in the team.
I mean, I wouldn't... It's one of those where I wouldn't worry about having too many premium options. I'll ask this question. Do you not feel that owning just two premium attacking options is probably the best way to avoid captaincy headache?
I think, for my plan, like, for the first sort of 6 to 7 game weeks before I think about wildcarding, I mean, it's going to be probably Aubameyang for the first 2 weeks. Week 3, maybe Son for his return.
It's interesting you say this because I was thinking of this like plan that Boas Rice has come up with, but Aubameyang, if you are going to captain him, is going to be the old midday kickoff on Saturday in game week 2. Do you like captaining players on an early kickoff? I hate it personally.
It's one of them ones you're either smiling for the weekend, you're like hiding behind the sofa for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, you're pretty confident like me that Lucas Moura could do really well versus Aston Villa.
Yeah, then he's one of them players. He's like you see in the semi-final, and he can easily pull out a hat-trick from nowhere.
Yeah,
I probably will. I'm maybe benching him for the second game though.
So overall, with this specific team, I always keep asking this question: how likely is this going to be at game week 1?
The only 2 players that I might change would be Aubameyang to Kane, and then Moura to, the guy that Jason posted the video of last night.
Bellos.
Yeah, he looked amazing. I might take a punt on him for a week.
That's a really interesting. Although what I would say is that I'd rather have Aubameyang and Lucas Moura because number one, Aubameyang is a world-class striker. Number two, he's a proven Premier League striker. Lucas Moura, we know what he can do in the Premier League, and I'd probably wait on Cabellos if you're going to be going. And plus the fact that FPL Boona was saying that Kane isn't looking that great in pre-season, so to speak, whereas Moura seems to be having quite a good run out. So other than that, I think I really like it, Phil.
You got to go against the grain sometimes.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Phil, have you got anything more to discuss before we let you go?
One of the things you mentioned in the other day was how long have people been playing Fantasy Premier League.
Yes.
And I was one of the players that used to have to phone up the Sun and write down codes.
Wow.
25 years ago. What?
So when this specific game came out, when did you start playing this one then?
I got serious on this one probably maybe 3 years ago, where we started.
Okay.
Yeah, we started up a Manager of the Month league, and that's carnage. Just don't ever get involved in one of them, Steve-O.
How well have you done over the last 3 seasons?
Last season I got off to a great start. I had a 92 and a 96.
What top 100?
No, in the first 2 game weeks, I was like, oh, this is it. I was like going on a great form. I was like, this is going to be my season.
That's what I'm saying. You were what second in the world?
No.
1,000.
I think my rank last year was 115k.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I'm saying. So when you said you were 92nd in the opening.
The last season they was my first game week scores. I scored 92 the first game week. So I thought this could be my season. I'm going to be up there, and then it just didn't.
So what do you feel went wrong for you to not maintain such a good start?
Just taking gambles, bad captaincy choices. I think last season I only nailed my captain maybe 4 times, 5 times.
When you say nail your captain, what specifically do you mean?
Well, get the perfect player in my team.
What about? So whenever I think captaincy, I think that so long as they get me a minimum of an attack in return, I say to myself, I'm happy with the fact that they've got me something. It
was more towards December last year. I had Kane and Son, and I was captaining Kane, but Son was getting 16s and 18s.
Yeah, on the old streams, I was always at the time saying that, because I was in exactly the same position as you. I was wanting to captain Son, but I just feared Kane. I just thought, nope. And then surprise, Kane blanked and Son delivered. I just kept regretting not captaining Son, even though I was telling the world that I was doing it. And it's something that this season I'm looking into. I don't know if anybody's actually seen it now because it's been deleted, but I did go on a bit of a mini rant yesterday about the fact that I'm sick to death of people kind of criticising other people's teams. It's like, well, you can do whatever you want with your team. If you don't like it, then that's a good thing for others.
But then also, if you're putting your team out there, you're wanting people's opinion about it.
Yeah.
Yes, but
it's you don't want to be just like trying to tear them up though. Where I see in other communities, people tend to like get crucified, as you said, Steve, or other podcasts, if they went against the stream. And no matter what you do, it's like, oh, you're going too template, or you're going. But whereas this community, I feel like it's more constructive, and we don't just say what we don't like, we say what we do like as well. And I remember on this Twitter post, under the official FPL Twitter, this dude was just like putting crosses to just anything he didn't like. And he wasn't really even offering any like advice. He was just like crucifying this poor bloke who put his team up on the Twitter feed. So I don't know.
So Phil, are you actually going to be part? I've probably asked you this already, but are you actually going to be participating in our Cash Mini League?
Yeah, Jason should receive the payment either tomorrow or Monday.
Are you looking forward to the fact that this season is going to be extremely competitive?
I was saying to Ozzy, some of the leagues I've been in before have only had maybe 8 to 12 players. So it's going to be so good. I think what we're up to now, 45, 50, maybe more.
Really? Is it that high now? Wow.
I think so. I think Jason said it was 46 paid and he was waiting for 8 to pay or something like that.
Wow. Yeah, it's and the thing is, there's a lot of money at stake, and I know for a fact that we are wanting to do a minimum of top four. We're wanting to do a minimum of 4 cash places, so the top 4, and we're kind of probably planning manager of the month as well, just to keep everybody involved and interested. And I think next year, the fact that we're going to be focusing all our attention on this cash mini league, I think it's going to create such a wonderful get together with everybody.
Yeah, you should get some merch done and maybe do like a cup for the manager of the month.
Well, I'm assuming you're aware, but Jason does do all the Elite FPL cups and everything. And last season we did send out some prizes to various people. In fact, this season alone, we've already sent out one for Cameron Rawcliffe, aka the FPL Kid, when he just won a little mini game that I put together regarding price predictions, and he received that, posted it up on Twitter and everything. And yeah, I think Jason will be doing something along those lines, like a unique kind of mug for that individual. But yeah, Phil, thank you for coming on the show, mate.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to check, Steve, are we doing the pick the team this Sunday or next Sunday?
It's August the 4th, so yeah, that's next week, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
I'll be in for that. No worries, Steve. Take care, mate.
Cheers,
Bye.
Cheers, Phil. There's Phil there. And Phil's just brought up a really, really interesting point. So for anybody that doesn't have a clue what Phil was talking about then, basically we are putting together an Elite FPL community team, which is basically your team. And simply put, on the 4th of August, myself and Jason will be hosting a special live stream in which you guys are going to be choosing your FPL community team. We are going to be entering that team into a special mini league which is being moderated by someone on Twitter, and I will bring him up in a second. In fact, you know what, I can do it on my old I can do it on here, in fact. But basically, we're going to be participating in this particular guy's Twitter mini league, and it will involve basically some other YouTube content creators, other Twitter esteemed FPL experts, so to speak. And simply put,
that's pretty cool.
Where are we here? This is when I'll never ever find him. But the point being is that you guys will be, I'll do that in a minute, for crying out loud. You guys will be representing Elite FPL. And I seriously think that with your guys' expertise, I seriously think that you could get us into the top of that mini league. And what they're actually going to be doing as well is they're going to be doing a podcast dedicated to that specific mini league as well. So you never know, we may actually be able to guest star on his specific podcast. So I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, what about you, Ozzy boy, regarding this FPL community team?
Yeah, sounds pretty cool. Well, an idea maybe once a week, maybe there should be a 30-minute to an hour live stream where you, Dan, Jason, maybe we all can contribute and we can pick our transfers for that week, or if we want to leave it. And so it's maybe that's just an idea, but
no.
Or maybe
we've already
put up polls.
Yeah, basically what the plan is so this is the guy here, Stephen Toomey. He's one of the correspondents on the Planet FPL podcast, and he contacted us and said that if we'd like to do this, enter a team into this specific mini league, and I basically said yes. By pure coincidence, we are going to be doing an Elite FPL community team, and we're just going to enter that into this specific special mini league. And yes, you are completely right, Ozzy boy. What we're going to be doing is each week we will be discussing with you guys if you want to be doing transfers and what chips you want to use and what formation you specifically want for that particular game week. So everything's all going to be in the bag. On the actual day itself, it's going to be really, really fun choosing which team that you want to represent the Elite FPL community, and we're hoping to get a lot of correspondence. I think, like you just said, we're going to get a load of live polls up as well, and you know, like that's the easiest way we're going to be able to do it. Basically, what I can tell you is that it is going to be a 4-4-2 formation, and we are going to be using a set and forget goalkeeper. Those two things have been decided, so I don't want anybody coming back to us and complaining, because those polls have already been done, and that's what we're setting. So a 4-4-2 formation for the Elite FPL community team, which will be posted in this mini league here. So yes, let's go into the chat.
I've put my team in the rate my team. I can show you. I've done some changes, just if you want a topic or something.
Here we go. Right, so here's Ozzy's rate my team.
So I've changed it a bit since Idrissa Gueye is gone. I've gone into panic mode, and I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do now that now Digne isn't gonna be as much of an option because their defense will be shaky. And then I see Jota coming up and doing really well in preseason. So I'm like, okay, buy Wilson, buy Vardy, buy Digne, and buy Pope, and welcome Fabianski, Ake, Jota, and Aubameyang. So now the problems. So now I'm happy with my keeper, and I really like having a second captaincy option in there. And I still got to keep De Bruyne, so I think I think Ake should be really good for the first couple of weeks, and then I'm will probably end up trading Aubameyang out for Vardy, and then putting Ake up to someone premium in defense. So
it's Boa Rice. If you're still in chat, if you're still watching this, it looks like everybody could be copying your kind of strategy. I look at this team here and I just think brilliant. You've got the key components that play for each individual team. You haven't got a captaincy dilemma, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm happy with this team a lot. Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, the plan of what you said about Aubameyang out and Ake out, and downgrading Aubameyang to Vardy and Ake up to Trent Alexander-Arnold, whatever, Robertson, Van Dijk.
Yeah,
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I really like it too. That's what I'm thinking at the moment, I gotta say. And Lil Saints, I think the other day, when it was on, he kind of convinced me to go with Aubameyang over Kane. So I reckon he's that option. I'm a tiny bit worried about that rotation risk, but how can you not play Aubameyang every week when he was joint Golden Boot for the Premier League last season? I just can't see it happening.
Plus something that I've noticed in the pre-season games of Arsenal, not that I'm watching minute by minute, but he seems to be enjoying himself. I think all this talk about joining United is a load of nonsense, and I think he actually looks like he's enjoying himself playing for Arsenal.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's always good to see a player actually enjoying it, because that's why another Liverpool thing, why we sold Coutinho that time, because he just wasn't interested in playing for us. So it's just also, how can you play someone who doesn't even want to play over someone who's is tirelessly working to get into the team? It just causes problems, and it's good to see that Aubameyang's enjoying Arsenal, and it's very good for an FPL point of view.
I mean, thinking aloud here, could you potentially see this Cabellos linking up with Aubameyang like Mkhitaryan did with Aubameyang at Borussia Dortmund, and they're sparking up a partnership there? And in which case you've then got Lacazette, Cabellos and Aubameyang, three absolute forces of nature, I mean, Little Saints last night made a point that he thinks that Arsenal are just going to go hell for leather to score more goals than the opposition.
Yeah, well, I think that's could definitely. Well, hopefully goes maybe Mkhitaryan instead, but I can't really getting back into his form from Borussia Dortmund. But yeah, definitely a possibility. I really like the look of Aubameyang at the moment with those two fixtures at the start. He had 22 goals last season. He had 205 fantasy points. So he's a great I think now he was being overlooked for a large portion of this preseason, but I think now finally I seem to see lots of people starting to go for him because I'd rather for those first few game weeks I'd rather spend a million less and then instead of Sterling to go for Bamiyang, and it's also a bit of a differential, so it could get you up the ranks a bit. And I don't want to spend that extra million
I
on
mean,
Sterling because then I'd rather spread that million at the moment.
YouTube content creator and good man J&O in the know who's asking, why has Mkhitaryan just not linked up with Aubameyang at Arsenal? What has actually
I
happened
don't know.
to Mkhitaryan? Ever since
Yeah,
he went
I don't.
Ever since he went to
Yeah,
United, he just seems to just be a completely different. Maybe Jose Mourinho's just completely ruined his confidence. He just doesn't know what to do anymore.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Mkhitaryan. He's a completely different player. I remember at Borussia Dortmund, he was like really good, but now he's not anymore. So he's. I think he seems to be playing a bit of a defensive role. Maybe I'm not sure.
So
That's
we've
what
got
it is.
Statman that's been waiting around. So Statman, if you could be prepared to come live on air in just a few seconds, and what we need you to do is make sure the stream is turned down so that we don't get any feedback. So Statman, welcome to Elite FPL Call-In. What do you want to talk about? Hello, Statman.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hello.
Welcome to the Elite FPL Call-In. How can we help you, mate? You're live with myself and Ozzy Boy.
Can you hear us loud and clear?
Yep, I can hear. Oh, it's Kevin. Welcome.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Geordie boy, it's all good.
I keep forgetting to change
how's
your
the
name.
heat? How's the heat tonight, Steve?
It's
this morning?
It's horrible, to be honest with you. It's why I've got the fan kind of blasting in my face. It's not pleasant at
It's
all.
good. It's good for you to have a taste of what me and Ozzy boy have to put up with every summer. So yeah.
Well, in the
I'm
summer
not
at
gonna.
least.
Yeah, exactly. Just for a few
Well,
weeks.
in Melbourne, when it's winter like now, it actually gets freezing. But then in the summer, it gets warm, and
Really hot.
you can get those 40-degree days. It can get crazy
Before we get on
over
to
in Australia.
Before we get on to what you want to talk about, Kevin, I want to bring Theo into the chat.
Yeah.
So Theo, make sure that you unmute your mic. And I've just seen that you've brought your team up in the Rate My Team, and you're going to get 3 people, well, mainly Ozzy Boy and Kevin, to discuss your team. So, Theo, we're going to bring you live on air right
Kevin's
now.
just gone.
Oh.
He's just
It's all right.
Kevin's just gone out of the chat.
Theo, you're live on. He's gone back out
Now
again.
he's gone. What the hell's happening here?
Theo, you're live on Elite FPL Radio. We've got your team up on the Rate My Team section. How are you, my friend?
Yep, hello.
Hello there. Welcome to the Elite FPL Call-In. How can we help you, mate? Talk about your team by any chance?
Yeah, I've gone for 3 premiums instead of 2. Wanted to try something different. I've had a template team the whole time, but I really wanted to fit Kane, Sterling, and Salah in.
When you say the template team, I'm assuming you mean the FPL community template team, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cheap.
You're confident in having Dendoncker as a starting midfielder?
Well, I was thinking early wildcard, so I'll just rotate him, Greenwood, and Hayden for the time being.
What, based on their kind fixtures?
Yeah, and I feel like Dendonka will play for the first month or so before I wildcard.
So when do you normally, based on what you're saying right now, you wildcard early then?
Yeah, like game week 4 or something like that. Max would be 8.
How long have you been playing the game for?
Well, this is only my second year, so...
Oh, interesting. Okay, so an inexperienced player, so to speak, but you think that wildcarding
Yes, yeah.
early is a good strategy for yourself?
Yeah, with this team I'd have to, because I can't keep rotating Dendonka, Hayden.
Kevin,
They
what do you think of this strategy that Theo's got here, where he's going to be rotating 3 extremely cheap and rotation risk-based players in Dendonka, your player Hayden, and Greenwood?
Personally, it would do my head in too much, having to try and pick one of 3. I find it difficult rotating keepers or maybe your third or fourth defender. So for me, it's either going to be a good thing because you've got 3 fixtures to look at, but you can also 3 chances of getting it wrong, haven't you? But Hayden's a good choice. He'll play.
Yeah, what can I
He's
ask you?
starting to creep into my thoughts.
Can I ask you, Kevin? Your thoughts on this Hayden that's only 4.5?
Yeah, well, he's pretty liked amongst the team, I think. Yeah, and I know he's respected within the players. He trains hard, and Rafa used him quite sparingly. So if nothing changed over the summer, I can't see why Steve Bruce. Because I think we paid quite a decent fee for him to bring him up from the Championship. He wasn't a cheap buy. So yeah, he's starting to creep into my thoughts as my 4th or 5th midfielder, depending on what formation. It's just Newcastle's fixtures.
Yes.
And where's the defence? Because just going off key here, but everyone's backing Aubameyang to go to town on Newcastle on the opening day. But I was just looking at the previous meetings at St James's Park, and Arsenal rarely score more than 1 at St James's, occasionally 2. But I think Steve Bruce can come in and he'll be putting so much emphasis on not getting hammered that first game that I think people are missing something there. I'd prefer, if I was going to have a premium striker, I would go Kane against Villa, and then I'd switch it over to Aubameyang, because I could see that easily being a 0-0 or a 1-1. Like, everyone's saying Arsenal haven't strengthened enough, etc. So I don't know why they think they're going to come up and drum us when we haven't lost anyone defensively, and we were quite good at the back and at home. So I worry for people putting the captaincy on Aubameyang, expecting him to get a hat-trick. I don't think it'll happen.
What do you think on that, Ozzy boy?
Well, yeah, I'm not going to captain Aubameyang in the first week because I take Salah, but yeah, I agree there. If the history can be right quite a lot of the time, but the only I have here, Theo,
Burnley, yeah.
is just the captaincy headache. You have 3 full out premium players. I would rather probably maybe get rid of one of those. But if you and then get like Dendonka up to someone, that's just personally. But yeah, I just wouldn't like the captaincy headache, to be honest.
Theo, what are your
Yeah,
thoughts on Ozzy boy saying about a captaincy headache there with your 3 premium defenders in Kane, Sterling, and Salah?
Yeah, he's got a point, but I think of it more as 3 different options, depending on fixtures.
Yeah.
You're a glass half full kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Kane captain versus Villa. So.
Be hard for me though. When I get the wrong, I choose the wrong one, but yeah, it's work. I just rather would have 2 options, and then I wouldn't have to play Dendonka. But I can definitely see why you're doing this, and I definitely don't think it's a bad option. Obviously, having 3 of those 3 players, Kane, Salah, Sterling, they're all very good. So you can't, if you look at it from that perspective, then you can't really go wrong.
Theo, before we let you go, Are you confident in Ake maybe bringing in some decent returns versus Sheffield United and Aston Villa in the opening 2 fixtures?
Yeah, I feel like Bournemouth can keep a clean sheet for those two, or at least one of those two, and he's proven as a scoring threat. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I've
same.
picked him for the start.
I think. Theo, thank you for joining us live. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Cheers, dude. Thank you. See you soon. That's a really interesting. It's a thought process that is slowly clicking in with me now. I'm thinking Ake, attacking threat versus weaker teams. And talking of attacking threat, Kevin, you're absolutely bang on the money. So last season when we were doing our previews and predictions for games, I did read a lot into the history, and you're absolutely bang on the money. So barring back in 2014 when you lost 4-1
4-4.
to Arsenal, but that was at the Emirates. Actually,
Yeah.
there's been 3-1
It's 4.
nils.
I think it's a 4-4 draw. I think the last time they scored more than 2 was a 4-4 draw. If you can remember, we came back from 4-1.
Was that at your ground?
It was, yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure it was.
Well, I'd take that. Birmingham snagged 2 of those. Doesn't affect us. He doesn't get the clean sheet points, so.
And the last 3 fixtures, it's very tight at St James's Park. So it's ended 2-1 to Arsenal, 1-0 to Arsenal, and then last season at St James's Park ended 2-1 to Newcastle. So
yeah, that's what I mean.
I look into that, and I do like looking at my history, and I think that maybe you're onto something, and maybe Burr Rice, your plan could fail immediate. But Kevin, we've got your team up on screen at the moment, and my eyes are popping out my glasses. That is wow.
I know what you're gonna say.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, Jason brought up an interesting point last night about punts and risks, and there's certainly one risk in there regarding Rico. There's some nice.
Oh, okay.
Punts, so
Steve, can I explain that?
yeah, carry on.
Mings would be my starting third defender, but because he's playing away to Spurs, I'm starting Kelly and Rico ahead of him just in the hope that one of them starts, because I can't see them coming on for the last 10 minutes. I think they'll start or they won't. So don't get us wrong. Mings is my third defender, but just because it's Spurs, I'm fingers crossed that maybe Rico starts to Southampton at home or Kelly against Everton. But
have you thought
you know,
about
I'm
rather than having Mings, I was talking about Target last night for Aston Villa. Have you not thought about him, a very attacking fullback?
yeah, I have. It's between them two on my watch list.
Is
I can't
Target
remember
now?
who it was. Yeah, it is Target nailed.
Yes, he will be. I would like to. He's
Definitely.
he's a brilliant talent, and I think that he should
Okay.
start for Aston Villa.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
It would be either of them. I just read something from a Villa fan saying that Villa fans are over the moon with the sign, because I think he was on loan there last year, and they loved him and absolutely over the moon that he's become permanent. So yeah, it was Target at some stages, and then it's went to Mings, but I definitely a Villa defender, and it's just that one opening game against Spurs, I'm not too confident, so I'll stick him as my second sub, and maybe Rico will start, because people are talking about 4 million defenders that actually might get a game, and I know Bournemouth have signed another player in Rico's position, but he himself wasn't a cheap addition. They paid 11 million for him. He started and then he got injured. He could get more minutes than people are expecting.
Yeah, I mean last
As a bit of
season, Jason was touting Rico to be a really good player for. I mean,
was he?
spent.
Yeah.
What did they spend on him? Like 15, 16 million for Rico?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe what add-ons. I read 12, but still, it's
For Bournemouth,
not
it's
a
a
little
lot of
fee.
money.
for Bournemouth. Exactly for a young, because remember he's adapting to the Premier League. He's young, so and I've read that he's been guaranteed a shot again this year. Like they haven't written him off. Last season he was hampered with the injury, so.
So
I just got some news. Everton have bid £60 million for Zaha.
Wow.
Oosh.
Where are you hearing that?
Okay.
Where are you hearing that?
Sky Sports.
Is that right? So breaking news
Yeah.
from Ozzy Boy. Everton
I
have
just got
apparently bid
notification.
60 million for Zaha. Wow. Let's go and
There's a game changer.
let's go and get on Twitter and let's just see what this is
Oh,
all
plus,
about. That is quite extraordinary. So there we are, breaking
Wait,
news.
so we could see maybe Rickarlson. I don't know.
Yeah, go on.
He'll definitely play up front.
Oh, the stream seems to be.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just the old Jason will be going mad at the moment. The old laptop burning up at the moment. Everything's running a bit slow. Can only apologise. If people can let me know in the chat if everything's running okay or not. Can you hear me, you two?
Yeah,
Yep.
I can hear you.
Oh, that's all right.
Devo, I'm going to have to head off now. Thanks for having me on again. It's been really good. Hopefully I can come on again.
No, thank you, Ozzy Boy. Thank you for joining me for the past 40 minutes or so. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers, dude. Take it easy.
See you later, Ozzy boy.
Kevin, are you willing to stay around, co-host with me for a bit?
Yeah, for sure, mate. I was actually keen to go through. I know you've spotted Sane there in my starting 11.
Oh, yes.
And I just wanted to pitch to you my thinking around it.
Well,
Because. Yeah?
I was going to say, if Notorious Nerd was here, he'd be able to tell you more about Sane, because he's a massive advocate of Sane this season. But yeah, you carry on, my friend.
Okay. No, I was just thinking that I'm not sure what the updates are on Aguero and Jesus are, but last time I heard yesterday or earlier today was that Sterling, there's a chance he's going to have to play up top. Maybe the first game until one of them comes back. And I haven't been able to find stats on how he's performed when he's played up front as the main man with Sane and Silva, etc. off him, but I don't like the idea of that. I like Sterling out wide, cutting in or getting to the byline and driving into the box. So, and the Spurs game in game week 2, which I don't like Sterling against because he tends not to perform as well as he does normally against top 6. So I'm thinking go Sane because he's looking good pre-season. Maybe Pep's going to bring him out of the shadows, possibly. And then that helps me out with the Lucas Moura. So game week 2, I could downgrade Lucas Moura to a Chelsea asset, who the majority of them are 7 million. So Willian, Pedro, Barkley, Pulisic, etc. And that would allow me to upgrade Sane going into game 3 to Sterling, because by then we expect Sergio to be back. Because looking at that team, I've still got 2 million in the bank to upgrade Sane to Sterling. If he's on fire, I wouldn't. But, you know, say Sergio's coming back and Sterling's going to take Sane's spot, or, you know, Silva switch over there. I just want the opportunity to go up to Sterling. So there's 2 million in the bank. I'm not going to play Moura past game week 1, so I can go down anyone at 7 million, and I've got enough to go Sterling from Sane. But have you heard any more about Aguero's injury or Jesus?
This is completely news to me. I can't even comment on that, so I can. I can't,
Oh, okay.
What I can comment on.
I thought you were talking last night. I thought someone mentioned it last night. I might be.
I think Jason mentioned the fact that there's talk of Pep possibly putting Sterling up front. I'm assuming that is based on the fact that Aguero is potentially injured or something. But going back, hello, Boona. Just bear with us for a second. What I would say is that I like your plan. I like this. I like the fact that there are people like Boa Rice, like yourself, FPL Little Saints that are actually having a plan and doing something different. And I think your plan for Sane for the first couple of game weeks, I think is brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
I hope so. It could go. It could totally fall flat on its face. But and even if you look at Chelsea's fixtures after Man United, they're green. There's a sea of green, and you know that one of them midfielders is going to hit the ground running, and it gives us that chance of game week 1 and 2 to have a good look at them and pick any of them. Do you know what I mean? I'm not taking a chance game week 1, as many people have said. They want to have a look how they're set up, how Frank puts them to work, and yeah, I like the idea of having some Chelsea coverage for them fixtures.
Yeah, I've said it
Oh,
before. I think that Chelsea are being overlooked, but we've got FPL Booner in chat there. Good morning, FPL Booner.
Morning, bud. How's it going?
I'm all good. Are you all? What is it? Are you driving to work? Are you just in the office listening into this early morning live stream?
No, I've got the honour of being able to work from home most days. So, yeah, I woke up about 8:05 thinking, oh yeah, Steve would be streaming maybe 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock. Little did I know you'd be on already.
I was planning on going earlier, but it doesn't matter. So, answering Kevin's question, do you know anything about this Aguero injury?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's an injury. I believe both Aguero and Jesus are being given a rest because of their Copa America antics, because they went both quite late on in that tournament. That's what I've heard anyway. I think that's what they're saying. I think both are potentially being rested early on in the season, but don't quote me on it. I'm not sure how reputable that source is.
And what are your thoughts on this fantastic plan of Kevin's, where he's going to have Sane for the first couple of game weeks, see how well he does, and then maybe upgrade Sane to Sterling?
I like Sane. I wouldn't have him instead of Sterling, personally, because Sterling, we know, is guaranteed to start and he's not going to get rotated, whereas Sane, he could do well game week 1, but then he's a transfer out waiting to happen. But I mean, like you said, you've got 2 million in the bank, so I guess you've kind of got it sorted. But I think Sterling's that little bit more deadly and nailed on, so I'd personally prefer to start with Sterling from the outset.
What are your thoughts on this breaking news that that Everton have bid 60 million for Zaha?
I think basically Palace are just trying to make sure, they get the money that they want from Arsenal by, this is kind of going to push Arsenal to want to bid a bit higher. I think it's just mind games personally. But if it were to happen, Zaha at Arsenal could be an absolute steal. Like, given their, Richarlison, Sigurdsson around him, and he's probably going to play in that number 9, false 9 position up front. Could be a good shout, but I don't think he's going to be a problem early doors because I don't think he's had a pre-season or anything either. So I'm not too bothered, but, it's one to watch out for.
So, Boona, we all know
who
that
would you prefer him? Sorry, who would you prefer him in for an FPL asset? Arsenal or Everton?
It's a tough one. He could do well in either team. Personally, I'd prefer him in Everton for obvious reasons.
Agreed.
I think that it's the classic thing of, I think at Everton he'll play a similar role that he was at Crystal Palace, where he's probably going to be the main man, but like Boona just said, supported by Sigurdsson, Richarlison, whereas at Arsenal, I think it's going to be completely different. I'm actually genuinely really interested in this Cabellos, and thinking aloud, and based on an article I read by Football 365, I think we could be in for a really good partnership between himself, Lacazette, and Aubameyang. What do you think, Boona, on that?
Yeah, no, he could well do, especially if he comes in at a attractive price. I mean, I just hope they don't outprice him for us. Even though he's an Arsenal player, if he does well and he looks good and he's priced well, then I'll still consider him. I'm hoping he doesn't come in any more than 7, personally, but I don't know. It depends. I think he'll be similarly priced to Mkhitaryan. Do you know what he's priced at? Is he 7.5?
I think he's cheaper than that. I think we'll find out in a minute. But while I check, have you been tinkering with your team?
So yeah, he's 7 million. And no, do you know what? The team that I put on the team that I put up last night, I'm actually quite set on it, and now I'm a bit struggling to know like what do I do with myself, because last 2 weeks I've been changing my team like 10 times a day, and now it's a bit weird. Like, do I need to find a new hobby or something?
So I know, here we are. Let's bring it up on stream now. So this is your team. For anybody listening on audio, and by the way, if anybody does prefer audio rather than watching, then Jason has actually set up a iTunes account and Spotify. So if anybody wants to listen on audio, you've got those two platforms, and SoundCloud, those three platforms to listen to the stream instead of having it on YouTube. But so your team as it stands and what you're pretty much set on, FPL Booner, is Ryan in goal. The double Liverpool defence of Alexander R. Van Dijk, Zinchenko and Coleman, Salah, Fraser, Sterling, Lucas Moura, Tielemans, and Wilson. So it's a 4-5-1. And then, of course, your bench of basically what I classify as non-playing starters. So you're really happy with that 5-4-1 formation?
Yeah, I really like it. I think that, as many people will agree, I think the value this year is in defence and midfield, not so much in attack. So I know that we run the risk playing a one up top. If that striker doesn't start, then you're buggered to an extent. But I think Greenwood will get some minutes. Kelly will get some minutes because the centre back problems at Palace are pretty rough. Hello?
Yep, I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, no, I finished. Did you hear what I said?
You cut out a bit at the end. If you just want to repeat it, just in case we lost it on the screen.
Yeah, no problem, mate. So basically, I said I reckon Greenwood will get some minutes off the bench, and so will Kelly. So I'm not too bothered, and I feel like the values in defence and way.
So in a similar, your team is very, very. In fact, the team that I've gone with, which, in fact, you know what? Rather than me looking on a different site, let's do it on here instead. Actually, so if everybody's watching on the screen now, take FPL Booner's team there. So it's a 4-5-1. Well, and you look at mine. Here we go. It's idiot. It's not even on the right screen, but basically, it is virtually identical to mine, apart from mine is a 3-5-2. So let's just quickly scroll up here. And here's my team now, and it's exactly the same. Apart from mine's a 3-5-2 formation, and yours is a 4-5-1. The midfield is identical. There's nothing.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah.
The three-man defence, obviously, I'm lumping heavily into the City defence, but that's just to save cash and everything. I just personally prefer having two strikers, and I'm more of a player that prefers putting his cash into the attackers rather than defence. I like
that.
Yeah,
I like that. You've got Laporte and Jota, and I've got Trent and Coleman. But I do like that. I prefer the extra attacker myself. So
yeah, what are your thoughts, Kevin, on our midfield really, and our well, basically our formation thought processes?
I'm important. It depends. It depends who's looking in form. I think I used every formation last season, and this season all the drafts have varied. I have went for a 5-4-1, a 3-5-2, and at the minute I'm going what I think is quite safe, a 3-4-3. But I'm not sure if you check the top 100 or top 1,000, but I'm not sure if there's a repetitive formation that does well, because like you say, last season the defenders were the bomb. You know, you couldn't get away from the Liverpool three, and Laporte in the midfield. But I think last season scared people. You know, with the premiums not featuring as high up on the overall totals as what you'd expect for 12 million, etc. So problem with Booner's just having Wilson up top and stacking the defence and the midfield, but. It's just Vardy. It's just Vardy in my team. I think Vardy's going to get off well. He finished the season hard. Rodgers getting the best out of him, and Wilson. Same with Buna. Like, I've got to have Wilson in the team. So yeah, I could make a 5-4-1 that I'd be perfectly happy with, or any other way.
Yeah. As ever, if anybody wants to discuss their team or discuss anything, all things fantasy football, you're more than welcome to join us, myself, Kevin and FPL Boona, on the Discord chat, where we can just get you live on air and well, yeah, like I said, discuss all things fantasy football. I just want to go through the chat for a second and just name check a few people. Morning JNO, thank you for joining us on this live stream early on in the morning. Danny Norris there. Boa Rice, I've already mentioned you. Thank you for joining us in there. I've just seen somebody, Anuban Michael, from all the way from Thailand. Welcome from such a far way there. Resi Dezel, One Life Soccer, welcome all to the stream and everything. If you didn't hear it, breaking news, Everton have reportedly put in a £60 million bid for Zaha. £60 million bid, and some people seem to be thinking that maybe Crystal Palace are playing the auction game with Arsenal. And I mean, do you think, Kevin and Boona, that Zaha will eventually end up at, well, do you think, number one, he'll leave Crystal Palace this season? And number two, which team do you actually think he'll eventually end up at?
Go for it, Kev.
Up until today, with Aussie Boys breaking news, I thought it had all cooled down, to be honest, and I was imagining starting for Palace, and he was coming into my thoughts as a downgrade from Mora to Zaha. Who's more likely to get him? From his point of view, you've got to want to play at the Emirates, surely. But Arsenal seem to be quite tight-fisted, and yeah, I can see him. I can see him playing for Everton if Arsenal. It's definitely a move up from Palace, but if it's him and there's two contracts on the table and there's not much in the wages, he's got to go to Arsenal, hasn't he?
Absolutely. I think he will end up going to Arsenal. I hope he does end up going to Everton. I've just had a look at the post that Aussie Boy was referring to from Carve Solokol, who's quite, reputable from as far as I'm aware. It actually says they made a bid in the region of 60 million, which also includes a player going to Palace from Everton. So it's quite a substantial bid, it seems.
Wow. That is
Who
great.
could that be?
I mean,
No idea. It could be Theo Walcott.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, from a fantasy football perspective, I think that it'd be amazing him going to Everton. I think we all saw what Everton did last season from an attacking perspective, and I think that just adding even more attacking threat, especially of the quality of Zaha, I think that from an FPL perspective, as J&O made a point, get him in your team. If he goes to Everton, I think that for 7 million, I think get him in straight away. Theo, just quickly responding to that, 60 million plus Tosin.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Huncho's just said the player is Tosin. Interesting. Given that Palace have just signed Jordan Ayew permanently anyway. But, I mean, he's not exactly set the world alight. No,
exactly. No, I think what I'll do is I'll just quickly bring up, so I know he recently posted just earlier on, I'm going to bring up on screen J-Boy, his Rate My Team, and interesting enough, as we'll find out in about 2 seconds, look who he's got in his team right now. Maybe he knows who the chairman of Everton, because look who J-Boy has got in his team, everybody. It's that man Zaha. So up on screen right now, we've got J-Boy's team. It's certainly a bit different, and it is the classic case of partial template team, but there are a few differentials. I mean, don't see in the early drafts, Delafeu was quite a popular player, but all of a sudden he's just seemed to being abandoned by everybody now. We've got
I think it's when I think it's when people realise that Deulofeu scored most of his goals against two teams all last season.
Yeah, for sure.
Another Ake owner here, and I think that maybe Ake is definitely somebody to potentially. I mean, listen to Phil earlier on regarding spreading funds. I mean, what are your two thoughts on spreading the defensive players across 4 or 5 different teams rather than just having double this or double that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a viable strategy. It's something that I was torn between as well. For example, in my 4-5-1, I've been undecided whether to have Coleman Zinchenko as my fourth defender or two 4.5s for a bit of rotation. See what I'm saying? So I do like having that extra defender because at 4.5, 5 million, I think they provide decent value. For example, when a player like Fraser or Wilson has a tough fixture, you could easily play them.
Kevin, your thoughts on having 4 or 5 starting but different defenders from different teams?
For me personally, it's not my style. I think when you look at the top scoring defenders last season and which teams had the most clean sheets, for me, it's safer and it's going to be better off in the long run just backing the likes of Liverpool and City. Now, if you're trying to gain more funds to, upgrade your midfielder or an attacker, you could do just as well having a Chelsea, City, a Liverpool, a Man U. But you've just got to look at the stats. I call myself stat man. It's quite cheesy, but I like having 2 of the top 3 defenders from last year, or 3 of the top, or even 4 of the top. But Man U are really coming into my thoughts at the minute. Everyone saying how good Basaka looks, and if they can get Maguire.
Interesting you bring up Man United. I had a someone message or comment on our YouTube channel this morning for our stream last night, and they were asking about Martial and do we think that Martial is a guaranteed starter and is he an option for our teams? And I'm thinking to myself, last year he played roughly 1,500 minutes and he got 10 goals and 4 assists approximately. So far in pre-season, he's done pretty well. What are your thoughts on maybe us overlooking Martial?
I'll go. I don't know. I think for me, it's what he does in. I want to see how he does in the Premier League and how he starts because he's not really a player that's kind of I've warmed to, and he's not really performed well for me. On the odd occasion when I've had him in. So, you're always going to have your personal allegiances to certain players, and he's one that I don't really have that to.
Kevin, your thoughts on Martial being the stats man and based on those simple stats of only playing... I mean, I can bring him up right now. And simply put, Martial, I know for a fact he only played something like... What was it? 1,500? He's 7.5. And he played, here we go, he played 1,600 minutes basically and scored, 10 goals and 4 assists. If you spread that across the season, if you played every single minute, you're talking, let's just say, 20 goals and 8 assists. Do you think we're overlooking Martial?
No, I don't. Personally, I've got to have a look at Man U. I've got to have a look how they're set up first. Keeping the 2 million in the bank is also potentially to go to Pogba. For me, it's Pogba over Martial. But Man U could surprise a lot of people. Like they had that cracking run when he took over Solskjaer. I got on that bandwagon at the perfect time. I got Pogba in and Rashford and cleaned up, really built up a lead in my league between friends, and I got off the bandwagon at the right time when they started to falter. But same as Bruno, I've got to have a look. If he's starting, if he's nailed on, it's 7.5. There's not much better out there than him. But I just think Pogba could be the one. I think he's 8.5. So I'll definitely be watching the whole 90 minutes of the Chelsea game. I want to see how they set up, because that'll be their strongest team against Chelsea. That'll be who he wants to play week in, week out. So, but I don't think we're overlooking them, especially not with that tough opener. I think it's good that there's a hard opening game for us to have a look at them, because it's a bit risky taking a punt on any of them, to be honest, game week 1. But come game week 2, I could easily bring any of them in, front to back. Rashford, I haven't seen Rashford in any drafts at all. So, yeah.
So we've been mentioning regular contributor Boa Rice to regarding his strategy. Well, Boa Rice is in the waiting room. We're going to get him live on air right now. So Boa Rice, you need to unmute your mic, make sure the stream is turned down, and we're going to get you live on air. You can join myself, FPL Boona, and Statman talking your team, which you posted in the Rate My Team. So Boa Rice, good morning to you. Oh, I meant to bring him back on. He came in and then he's just... Boa Rice, do not leave the waiting room. Here we are. Boa Rice, you're live on Elite FPL calling. We've been talking about you all morning. Good morning, Boa. Oh, we're having a few difficulties. Let me just put it back in the room. Well, we've got Boa's team on screen right now. And
I see the captaincy on bag on Aubameyang straight away.
Yep. And it's the classic case of no Sterling, and we know what your thoughts are on Aubameyang captain, and we all know that everybody seems to be copying Boa Rice's team here. Let's try and see if no, Boa Rice has vanished. What a shame. We've been talking about him all this morning, about everybody copying his strategy, and then all of a sudden he's vanished into the air. He's going with a 5-4-1 at the moment, but he's not on here to talk about it. So what I'll do is we'll get FPL Defender live from Sweden onto the show. So FPL Defender, make sure the stream's turned down. You are live on the FPL calling. Good morning, FPL Defender.
Good morning.
Good morning. What time's it over in Sweden?
No, it's 10:30, 10:20.
Oh, so you're only about an hour ahead. That's not too bad. Now, obviously, we got you on the show yesterday, and unfortunately, we had to cut.
Yeah,
the
you got some problem.
That's correct. Yeah, and I put up an amusing tweet regarding something you said, but it doesn't matter. So we'll bring your team up on screen right now.
Yeah.
Look at that! Here we go. Oh, this is brilliant. Look at that 4-3-3 formation. So anybody listening on audio, Kevin, Boona, I'm going to enjoy discussing this. So we've got Pope in goal, triple Liverpool defence of you-know-who, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, and Coleman. Now this is when it gets really, really interesting, and Kevin will be liking this along with Notorious Nerd. Triple Man City midfield of De Bruyne, Sterling and Sane. And then up top we're going with Wilson and Vardy, and a bit of a, I think this is a hell of a risk, Greenwood. But FPL Defender, talk us I mean, actually, before you say anything, Kevin, Boona, what are your immediate reactions to that specific team? Kevin first.
Oh, you gotta like it. You can't knock it. It's very brave. It could go excellent, but it could equally flop. So I like that. I'm a gambling man, so fair play. If that's your team game week 1, you get props for having big kahunas. Let's just say that.
And Boona, your immediate reaction before we get the man himself to discuss this.
I'm a big fan, but the man himself will tell you that this team was inspired by myself. That's all I'll say. I'll leave the rest to Defender.
Yeah, go for it, Defender. Explain this wonderful team you've got on here right now.
Yeah, I was in the Discord, and I think that Boona was like tinkering his some thought he got. Like if you like play Greenwood, if he's gonna start, you can like get a lot of money to the big premium. So I was like, okay, I will do the same, but not like him, like 4-3-3. And I've always like, if I'm not playing Salah, I can play 3 Liverpool defender. So I was trying with that, and yeah, the only thing I am worried about is of course Greenwood. I have the Donker, so I could play him instead. Now when maybe he will not play like a defense midfielder, maybe he's like more offensive, so it may be a good pick. But then my bench is not good, so I will see. But it's of course if Son is gonna play. My thought is if Son is gonna play like game week 1, game week 2. Now when Aguero is away and Mahrez and stuff, I can gamble with that and then put in Son at game week 3. So yeah.
Are you that confident in Liverpool's defence this season that you're willing to take that gamble, so to speak, on this triple up? You think they're going to continue this absolute domination of keeping the clean sheet, as well as obviously the bonus of attack and returns?
Yeah, my thinking is that I think Trent can do a lot better if he gets to play a whole season. He can overperform Robertson with set pieces and stuff. And I think that, of course, I mean, if Norwich scores and I'm sitting there with no clean sheets, I can also get like assists and goals for that. And I'm thinking, because I'm gonna stick to it the whole season, it doesn't matter if I let's say 2 weeks no clean sheets. You guys is like having one defender of each team, so you will get ahead. But then when I get my my clean sheets and like attacking returns, I will get like 50 points from those defenders, or 30 or 40. So yeah.
Try and be honest. I know this is a really difficult question to answer with literally nothing being played, but honestly, if Liverpool concede against Norwich, are you going to be ripping up your plans, smashing your phone, putting your fist through the laptop and just thinking, I've got to get rid of a minimum of one of those Liverpool defenders? Or do you think, nope, keep calm, I'm sticking with the plan, I want to stick with these players for the whole season because I know that they're going to get the returns that I believe they will?
Yeah, I won't freak out. The only thing I will freak out is if I see that Greenwood is like not gonna play. So then I have to structure it. But then I think I can move some stuff. I can downgrade Wardy, and I can get like a 6.0 instead of Greenwood. If I see that San is not gonna play, I can also take that money and spread it. But I don't think that I will be worried about the Liverpool defense. I will not change it.
Kevin, obviously you're somebody that's at the moment advocating the Sane in your team. What are you thinking looking at this? Is it making you even more confident having him?
I've actually messed around and built a team pretty similar in midfield there, because I haven't went for City at the back at all really. And it's just people, it's like watching content like this that starts to put doubts about different players and makes you question your thoughts. So
well, I'd counter that by saying, but surely it shows like this now where someone like FPL Defender is backing the point of view that, wait a minute, Sane is probably going to start.
Exactly. Nah, you're right. You are right. And how can you argue with Sterling, KDB and Sane? If they're playing the amount of goals City score, you can't argue. I think it could work, because I'm just looking at Liverpool's fixtures and you'd fancy them to get 4 out of the first 5 clean sheets, and maybe 5. They only play Arsenal at home, which could be potentially where they could let it slip. But yeah, I like it. Back Liverpool for the clean sheets for the defenders, who were the top three. Back City, who were the highest scoring, attacking team in the league. Yeah, I'd love to see how this team right there. I'm gonna screenshot it and just see how it performs game week 1, because that could be a monster squad. To be honest, yeah.
We've got defender. Are you willing to stay on the line for a bit?
Yeah, sure.
Because I'd like to do something a bit different where we're getting in quite a lot of people live on air. So Burr Rice, we're hoping that the technical issues have eroded away, and Burr Rice will get you live on air right now. Burr Rice, welcome back again. Are you there, Burr Rice? Oh, shame. Oh, Burr Rice? No, he's such a shame. I really want to talk with him about everybody copying his strategy. So what we'll do is we'll bring Ryan into the stream. Obviously Ryan live in chat right now. Ryan, welcome to the Elite FPL calling, my friend. Hello Ryan, you are live on Elite FPL calling. No, he's not.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Ooh, just as I was about to put you away then. Hello Ryan, welcome to the Elite FPL calling, my friend. What can we do for you?
I just posted my team in rate my team.
Okay, let's go and
Yes,
find.
sir.
Oh no, that's not it there. Roughly whereabouts did you post it? And just a quick one, what are your thoughts on defenders team going with this triple Liverpool and defence and triple City at midfielders?
I just talked with him in the waiting room. He's pretty confident about the free Liverpool defender, but I would really not adopt the same thing. And also the free Man City, I would rather get Salah and downgrade a Liverpool defender to Wan-Bissaka, something like that.
So, I'm now smiling. We have your team up on the stream, and Boona, you're going to be should be smiling as well, because Ryan has a very similar team to us, and this is when I like the different ideas coming into play here and what you can play around with money wise, and it's very similar to mine and Boona's 5-man midfield. But let's go through it. It's Zinchenko, Alexander-Arnold and Charlie Taylor, and I'll come to the bench in a second because that's a very interesting choice of bench at the moment. Midfielders Salah, Brooks, Perez, Mora and Sterling, and then we've got Vardy and King up front. And I just mentioned the bench here. We've got Greenwood and Kelly, but Wan-Bissaka, one of the main rules that I am not going to be breaking this year is ever benching a premium defender. But Ryan, it's very similar to mine, just a few different players here and there. I've gone more premium in defence in my 3-man defence. But yeah, talk us through your team and why choosing these specific players.
Actually, I started with 5 at the back when everyone was saying values at the back. True, but I find it boring to watch games having 5 defenders, and that 5 at the back brings no flexibility to the team. So I went with a 4-4-2. I was quite happy with that. Then I realized that Everton defenders might not bring that much value. I really think they can easily concede in their opening fixtures. Palace away, Watford at home, Villa away, Wolves at home, Bournemouth away. These are their opening 5 fixtures, and I can't see a clean sheet guaranteeing any of them. So I kept tinkering. Then I came with a 3-5-2, and I said to myself, hooray, yeah, that's what I was looking for. And I'm pretty much sure I'll go with the 3-5-2 when the season starts. And I'm pretty happy with the team. I really like the body at the front. I've constructed my team to be able to afford Son when he returns. So I'll downgrade Body to Tammy or Batshuayi, and then I'll upgrade Mura to Son.
What are you thinking here, Boona, with this specific team?
Some very sound logic there. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, like you, I'm not overly happy with benching a 5.5 defender, but I can see to an extent why he's done it. But I think even then, Wan-Bissaka probably has a better chance of a clean sheet home to Chelsea than Charlie Taylor, personally. But there's 1.5 million sat in Wan-Bissaka that could also be just put from King to Wilson. What's your thoughts on that, Ryan? Like, have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, but I think the 1.5 between King and Wilson, it's not worth Wan-Bissaka to a 4 million or 4.5 million. Like Wilson will overscore King by let's say 30 points, and I think Wan-Bissaka will outscore a 4.5 defender by more than 50 points.
Fair comment.
I mean, defender, I've got some good news for you, and anybody that wants to listen into these little bit of information, you're going to be absolutely loving this. So, Liverpool last season, in their opening 6 fixtures, kept 4 clean sheets. So, defender, you're going with that triple Liverpool defence. Do you reckon they could continue that record of having such a high percentage of clean sheets in the opening 6-7 fixtures?
Yeah. I think they will just continue from the last year. It's like a risk, but I mean, they always have the wild card. I mean, if let's say I get super good starting with the City plays, like they are assisting each other, they're doing goals, like everyone is doing goals, assist each other, and then we have the Liverpool keeping clean sheets, getting attacking returns, getting assists, maybe Trent get a goal. I mean, that's like 80 to 90 points each week with Wardy and Wilson. And then after 8 weeks, I can just wild card to safety. Let's put in some safe picks.
So,
then it's really hard for the rest of the teams, especially in the mini cash league. They have to go risky to get on.
So, Ryan, you've been speaking privately in the Discord to the defender. If you want to share your thoughts about the defender's choice of going with 3 Liverpool at the back and 3 midfield of Man City.
Yeah. Something I would like to ask you. I would like to have your views on Aubameyang. Actually, last season, almost everyone went for Salah in game week 1, and he started to get 3 points, 5 points, 8 points with the hot goal, without any bonus points. Sometimes he blanked. There was no double digits at all. And then we all started transferring out as Aubameyang was scoring more points at less price, which brought us more in money to invest elsewhere. It really paid off. It's only at about Christmas that Salah became essential. What do you think about that?
Boona?
Yeah.
Oh, defender.
I think I'd like to go back to Geordie Kev's point. I think he made a really strong point regarding Arsenal's recent results away at St James's Park. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And historically, Steve Bruce has been someone, his style has always been to keep it tight in defence, and I see it being very much the same. So, if anything, I'd prefer, like Statman and Geordie Kev said, to start with Kane and then potentially move to Aubameyang game week 2. That'd be the way I'd prefer to go anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, you're not such a big fan of Aubameyang away at your boys Newcastle, are you?
No, and he could get a brace or a hat trick. Don't get us wrong, but it's just the Steve Bruce factor and the pressure he's under. The fans aren't happy with his appointment. I think he'd take a 1-0 opposed to going for it and getting beat 4-1 or something. I think it'll be damage limitation game week 1 for him. I think there'll be so much emphasis on not getting ran over. So I wouldn't go with Aubameyang game week 1. But I think Arsenal's stats against Burnley are pretty good. They always like to score. I think I've read or Burnley. So to me, Kane Aubameyang is. I'm talking myself into it. You know what I mean? Kane game week 1, Aubameyang game week 2.
To be fair, Arsenal's record against us, despite beating us, it's a bit like when they play you lot. It's very, very tight. And, I mean, ironically, talking of Aubameyang actually got a brace against us, but this was at the Emirates. And I'm just looking at Aubameyang, and I'm sure off the top of my head, I mean, if any of you guys want to correct me on this, but I'm pretty sure that Aubameyang is more of a points hoarder at home than he is away. And obviously Burnley at home is obviously his first fixture at home, and I can see him doing really well there. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the next game after that, which is a possibility of getting a decent return, is Aston Villa at home and then Bournemouth at home.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm pretty sure, am I right in saying that Aubameyang's more of a home player than an away player?
He is, but Aubameyang last season scored 2 against Burnley home and away.
Both home and away, was it?
He scored 8 against Burnley home and away, so evidently I think Burnley is a team he really enjoys his time against.
Wow, that's really interesting. While we've got you on the air, Boona, someone asked in the Discord about on the live chat about this talk about Dybala joining your lot Spurs. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really truly believe it, but I've seen some sources with, you know, reputable ticks to their name on Twitter saying that Spurs are in talks with him. So, I mean, if it happens, God, I would be over the moon. Dele Alli not so much, because I think it's a similar position he'd be assuming. But yeah, if that happens, that's going to be a massive signing for us, and it'd be interesting to see how he fits into FPL. But I'm not counting my chickens.
So I'm going to try Boa Rice one more time. I'm hoping he can come on, because basically he can't hear me. I've checked my settings, everything's as per normal. He's checked his settings as normal. So Boa Rice, welcome to the live. You are live on the Elite FPL calling. Can you hear me? Ah, yes.
I can hear you.
Yes, thank goodness. Right, you are live on with FPL Defender, FPL Boona, Ryan, and Statman as it stands right now. So there's 6 of us right now live. So it's going to be a bit interesting to talk about this. So I'm going to bring up your team, and I'm basically going to ask you one question, and I want you to answer it with honesty. So, don't panic. It's nothing bad. Your thoughts on people like myself, FPL Little Saints, Ozzy Boy, thinking of doing your idea of having Aubameyang in the starting 11 for the first 2 game weeks, and also a cheaper defender, and then swapping out Aubameyang for Vardy, and then upgrading the cheaper defender to a premium. I'm aware that you've changed your team. I've got it on screen, but what are your thoughts on us potentially copying your strategy? Are you annoyed? Are you happy? I mean...
No, I mean, it's great. Just the option to share your thoughts with other members of the FPL community, and them picking them up. Like, I picked up other thoughts in the past, so it's nice to be on the other end at this point. But I did change it a bit, my strategy. So at first I thought that I would move Ake to a Liverpool defender, and now I was just thinking that I want to get Son in by game week 3. So now I'm changing Aubameyang and Fraser for Vardy and Son.
So we've got up on the screen at the moment your team. It's a 4-5-1 formation. A very, very, very heavy hitting defensive. Van Dijk, Walker, Digne, Alexander-Arnold and Wan-Bissaka. Jason's very, very confident in Wan-Bissaka, saying he's looking really good in pre-season. I wonder if those words are influencing this decision of having Wan-Bissaka. We'll get your thoughts in a minute. Again, a beautiful, beautiful midfield of Fraser, Salah, Richarlison and Bernardo Silva, and then up top is Aubameyang. So, yeah, straight away, why Walker instead of Zinchenko, and why the Wan-Bissaka choice?
Wan-Bissaka is just if Maguire really comes to United. Otherwise, I don't trust him. So he might change if Maguire doesn't come. And I just think that Walker is more nailed on for City, at least in the long term. Like Zinchenko might start the season, the first 2 game weeks, or a couple of more. But Walker might be a player for the whole season, and I just think as long as they don't sign a right back, Walker is nailed on.
Would you if Zaha does actually go to Everton, would you think that he's number one, a very good option for Everton, number two, a very good FPL option, and number three, would you bring him in ahead of Richarlison and Sigurdsson?
Yes, I would consider him if he goes to Everton. Saving 1 million on Richarlison might be an option, but not for game week 1. Zaha doesn't have a preseason due to the African Cup, so I will definitely wait on him. I actually thought about another team and going with the bench boost in game week 2. What do you think about that?
So, say that again regarding the bench boost. Say that again.
So I created a second team where I spread out the money. I will just post it as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, please post this, because while you're posting it, Kevin, your thoughts on a usage of a chip, in this case a bench boost, so early on in the season in game week 2. We'll see the team in a second, but what are your thoughts on that?
Personally, I play it a bit safer, and I try and set up later in the season on a double game week. But I've got to say, on my game week 1 last season, I had Neves, Wan-Bissaka, and I can't remember the other guy, but Wan-Bissaka and Neves both got 12 points each, and my third outfield player got a goal or something. I had about 25 points. So if the stars align and the fixtures look good for your bench, I actually played my bench boost on a random game week, game week 30, I think, or somewhere around there. It wasn't a double, and I got my highest finish ever. I finished 14 in the game that week, and the bench did okay. I think I got 18 points off the bench, and I got that top 10 almost in the world. So I think if the fixtures look good on the bench, hit it.
Right. This isn't just at Kevin, this is to anybody. When you mention ranking, can you please mention the fact if it's thousands, because I'm getting confused. Did you say you were, when you say top 10, do you mean in the world, or do you mean top 10,000?
No, I mean top 10. On the Saturday, I was 9th.
Wow.
Wow. It was ridiculous. I was at my missus's parents' place for Christmas. It must have been the game week going into the Christmas holidays, and obviously she's a Kiwi and her dad's a Maori, so zero interest in football. And I checked my phone on the morning of the first round of games, and I see 9th on game week ranking, and I'm freaking out, and I'm showing them all, and they're looking at us like I'm talking rubbish. And I'm saying, you don't realize how good this is 9th. There's 6.5 million people playing. They're like, oh, that's pretty good, and I'm like, pretty good. So yeah, so going into the last 2 games, I had Danny Ings. I'll never forget. I had Danny Ings and Fabianski to play, and I checked on one of the apps that show you exactly where you are, and I had potential to win that game week, but Ings blanked, I know, and I finished 14th that week. And the point is, I brought it up because I used the bench boost that week, and I think I got 18 points off the bench, which moved us from the thousands or the high hundreds up to the top 10 area. So I'm an advocate of hitting that button whenever you want.
Just of interest, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute you're lying. You're clear. Did you screenshot this?
Yeah. I showed Booner, I think, or Jelly Llama.
If you can put it in the Discord, in the general chat, I'll be more than happy to tweet that out, because that's a fantastic story. And I'd like to get FPL defenders' thoughts on using a bench boost not only just in game week 2, but just some random game week and maybe doing what Kevin did and ending up in the 14th overall point score in the world.
Yeah. I mean, the best scenario is to do it, like, of course, in a double game week, because if you have more chances to get points.
Wow.
But why not?
And
I was
Seen it.
thinking in the beginning to like just take the double captain on like Kane for like 2 weeks ago. So I mean, it's a lot of luck. So I mean, the let's say the chance of getting more points, of course, is double game week. But why not take it in a random?
Have you any thoughts, Ryan, on using a chip, or in this case a bench boost, early on in the season / at any point during the season, rather than a double game week? Ryan, are you there? No, he's gone. What a shame. Ryan's gone. I think Ryan's from Libya, of all places in the world. But so we've got Boa Rice's team up at the moment. Well, I did have anyway, and this is potentially what his team is going to be as a bench boost in game week 2. So Boa Rice, just to clarify something here, this would obviously be your starting game week 1 team, and then you'd bench boost this in game week 2, correct?
Yes, exactly.
So I'm looking at that with my eyes popping out my glasses here, and Tim Krul in goal, Boric, and then Wan-Bissaka, Digne, Zinchenko, Van Dijk, Ake, Brooks, Felipe Anderson, Salah, Bernardo Silva, Dendoncker, Aubameyang, Haller, which we know you're a big advocate for, and Origi. Please, there's a lot of what Jason likes to call punts in there. Please tell us all about this.
I mean, the biggest punt probably is Origi, but I think he will start the season, and a Liverpool striker that will start the season at 5.5 is kind of an instant in for me. But of course, the Liverpool slot is quite expensive, and Origi, if I don't bench boost, then he will not make my squad. Anderson showed last season what he can do for West Ham, and in combination with Haller, they might get a great start. In the Bundesliga, Haller was actually the best player when he played teams lower in the table, and against the top 6 he wasn't so good. So I'm expecting him to pick up his form against Brighton, Norwich, Watford maybe, and the other worst team. But then, like Brooks, I think he can replicate what Fraser did, and it's 1 million less. So if you want to save money and you got Fraser in, I think Brooks is a decent option. I think he's 20 years old. He plays basically a mirroring position of Fraser, and I think he can have the same impact as him.
FPL defender, I'd like to get your views on Origi being potentially a starter for the opening couple of game weeks, and is he an option?
Yeah, if he starts, absolutely. It's he's 5.5, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Actually, I would reconsider something now when if he's playing. Yeah.
I mean, Boas, what is the likelihood of you genuinely sticking to this plan and possibly going with a bench boost? Not necessarily with this team, but doing a bench boost in game week 2.
So the bench boost has failed me in the last seasons every time.
Yeah.
I remember last season I had in the double game week, and I think I had Højbjerg, and he picked up a red card or something. So it absolutely failed me, and I just thought that when I start the season with that team and I wildcard after, then I can just adjust my team for this one specific game week, and can then use my bench boost to the maximum, so everyone has a great fixture, which might be better, but I don't know. Like what he just said changed my mind. I mean, he ended up 14, so maybe I should wait out. And to be honest, with my other team that I posted earlier, I also feel very, very confident. So
Yeah, I mean,
I think I will just stick to that.
FPL Buna, what are your just general thoughts on using a bench boost at some sporadic moment in the season rather than planning for using it in a double game week or even a a potential blank game week?
It's not something I would do. I prefer to kind of plan for it and use it on a double game week. It's a bit like using a triple captainship on a single game week. To be fair, I say that, but I did actually use my triple captain on a single game week last season, and it didn't go so well. So it's not something I'd try, but clearly it can pay off.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I couldn't feel confident in triple captaining or bench boosting in a single game week. Although ironically, last season I should have done it when I posted about it that I'd do it on Salah. I mean, talking of which, a bit of a random topic for you three. I'll start with you, Boas, right now. Just off the top of your head, is there anything you've learnt from last season which you're not going to be doing this season? So I'll give you my example. I am absolutely sticking with my guns, and I'm going with what my gut is telling me to do.
I think last season I went too long with certain players. So I put my trust in them. Maybe they returned, but then when they didn't return anymore, I just thought, maybe they will return next week. Maybe they can get to the form they had 4 or 5 game weeks ago. So I think that it would be much more harsh when it comes to players losing their form or don't having the great fixtures anymore. So just get out when you don't score anymore and don't wait until they do.
And FPL Defender, same for you. Have you learned anything from last season which you are saying to yourself, right, this season I am definitely not doing that and I'm going to do this instead?
Well, this is my first season playing, so but I have followed it since half the last season. I follow like what are people doing and stuff. So yeah, I think that if you, for example, pick a pick for like, let's say Everton, you pick Sigurdsson for 12 weeks and he doesn't do anything for 5 weeks, I won't like take him out. I think a lot of people is like jumping on, let's say bandwagons. Like if someone is not performing yet, they take him out. But on the long haul, you miss when they do. So for those picks, like let's say De Bruyne and Sigurdsson, who will perform good in the long haul, I won't like change them because they don't do anything. But I also won't jump on a lot of bandwagons. Let's say Pookie. Pookie is like scoring every game, even if it's like tough pictures, and then there come good pictures. I won't jump on.
Well, this is the funny thing. I keep banging on about this. I'm sorry to be like a broken record, but I just feel like in the opening game of the season, Liverpool versus Norwich, Liverpool are going to win 2-1. Pookie will get the goal, and everybody will bring in Pookie, and he won't score for the rest of the season. But that's a really, really interesting point you bring up there. Buna, how long do you keep a player in your team while they're blanking until you think, no, go, get out my team now?
So obviously if it's a defender and they're 5 million and they're consecutively blanking, then they'd be out. But if we're talking from an attacker perspective, I don't look at it from a price perspective. Regardless if they're 12 million or if they're 6.5 million and they're stinking up a spot, I don't really have much patience. So yeah, in the past I would get rid of them after, let's say, 2-3 games if they've not really done well. But I'm someone that I'll swallow my pride. If then they start firing as soon as I get rid of them, I'm not someone that will be like, do you know what? They've burnt me in the past. I'm not getting them in. If they start showing momentum, I'll get them right back in and right the wrong and be like, look, made a mistake. Done. It is what it is.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Burr Rice. You are joining the Cash Money League, but Defender, you're not.
I am.
Yeah, I'm in.
Oh,
I'm in.
Oh, sorry. I apologise. There was somebody that came on that said that they want to treat this season as their just kind of know what this Cash Money League is all about, but not. So you're both in it, right? Okay. So we'll go with you, Boa first. What's your thoughts on someone like myself, Jason and Dan, for when we do the proper streams and everything? Really going into detail about your team. So, for example, you are doing okay at the weekend, but then you feel, now I'm gonna do a sneaky transfer, and I don't really want anybody to know yet. Stevie boy here, I'm going to be doing all the research into looking into what you guys are doing, and I see that you've done a transfer, and I reveal it live on a live stream. Now, barring the fact that, unless you don't direct message me, I don't have a clue if you're okay with it or not. But what are your thoughts on someone like myself just looking at things like that, but in reality you're kind of not wanting anybody to know, or do you just not care about that?
To be honest, I don't really care. I don't know, like FPL is not a job. It's not about massive tons of money. It's more like friendly banter with friends and having a nice competition. So I don't mind.
And what about you, Defender? What are your thoughts on an individual like myself kind of really delving deep into what you're specifically doing?
No, I mean, okay, you can do that and not show it, but it's just fun. I mean, we're doing this for fun. So, I mean, if I see someone ahead, of course I will use anything to see what he's going to do and counter it. It's like you have to do that. It's fun. So there are always tools to see what's going to happen.
Right, before we let you both go, Boa, I'll ask you first. Any final thoughts before we let you go regarding anything, all things fantasy football, your team? Any final thoughts?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Thank you for joining the stream. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having you.
Cheers. Thank you. And Defender,
Bye-bye.
the same for you, really, mate. Is there any thoughts you want to share with the viewers and the listeners before we let you go?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to this team. So 100%, no change. The only change. Away with Coleman and in with Wan-Bissaka.
Wow. There we have it, everybody. Thank you, Defender. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye. There we have it, FPL Booner. Defender sticking with that triple Liverpool and triple City in midfield. Now, Statman or Kevin unfortunately had to leave, but I'm going to bring up screen now his incredible score. Look at that. 131 points. Used a bench boost in game week 19 last year and ended up a game week rank of 14th. I mean, I heard you respond to it, FPL Bruno. I mean, if you want to tell us live your immediate reaction to that.
Sorry, Stevie, you're cracking up really bad for me. I don't know if it's the same for the chat or if it's just me. Did you ask for my reaction to that 1-3-1?
Your live reaction to that specific.
Oh, it's absolutely insane, isn't it? It's crazy. 1-3-1 and what, game week 14 was really. So, absolute fair play. It just goes to show that a bench boost, I believe it was a random single game week he was saying, can work. So, it's maybe not the worst thing in the world. Like, it was that fruitful. I definitely didn't hit 1-3-1.
So Kieran H, just bringing up a point there that I think Steve-O should 100% go through the team so everybody can look at it. It's not like you have access to information everybody else would. Yeah, I'm just sorry, just to make this point. So a few issues that we used to have with, and I'll be interested to hear your points actually, Abuna, in a second. We had a few issues with our close knit Facebook group when I was doing it back 2 years ago now. No, a year ago. Blimey, yeah, it was a year ago. And a few people didn't like the fact that I was basically telling the Facebook group, a total of about 40 people, and only about 10 people viewed the thing. But yeah, they didn't like the fact that I was basically telling the audience that they had done a transfer. They were trying to keep it. Obviously, I have no idea what the transfer was. I would just make the point that, oh, so and so has actually made a transfer this week, and they were getting quite annoying about it. I mean, what are your thoughts on this topic, Boona, about information kind of being released, even though, like Kieran says, it's not exactly private, it's completely public?
Sorry, but I'm struggling to make out what you're saying here. I don't know if it's just me.
I think it may be your end, because everything seems fine at my end. Are you able to answer that question, or is it just...
All I heard was something about information being released. I couldn't fully make it out. What was it regarding that information?
It was just about myself next season. Let's just take you as an example. I used Daily Llama yesterday, but I'll use an example as... So, you've thought about doing a transfer, but privately, and you decide to go ahead with it, and you think that you're sneakily doing it to try and catch people out. So let's just say live on air, you're telling people that I haven't done a transfer or anything, but reality is you have. And then when it comes to, like, I don't know, whatever, me reviewing the teams or whatever, I then say, oh, FPL Boonas, he's gone and done a transfer this week. I wonder who he's brought in. Would that annoy you, or does it really not bother you whatsoever?
It wouldn't annoy me, but you can actually know when people have made transfers by looking at their game week history page or something.
Yes, that's correct.
So it wouldn't bother me though. I mean, personally, if I've made a transfer, even if I'm in a cash league, I'd share it. I'm not too bothered by it. You just got to go with, got to back yourself at the end. It is what it is.
Yeah, I completely agree. Boona, I think I'm going to end the stream here now, mate. So thank you for joining me for the last 2 hours or so.
All right, bud. No worries. Yeah, cool.
Cheers,
I probably should do some work anyway. Cheers. Bye.
FPL Boona there joining me for the last 2 hours rather than working. What I'll do is I'll just quickly highlight some points of view in the chat. Whether I'm hoping that that's interesting. Maybe something to speak to Jason. Basically, Burr Rice saying that there's been a few breakups with me when speaking on Discord. Well, that's something for what's his face, Jason, to maybe look into. But I mean, the real Rafa has specifically asked FPL Boona this question, but I'll be more than happy to give it a go. Do you think any Spurs defenders can have good value like Aurier or Walker Peters now Trippier has gone? Well, I think that Walker Peters could potentially be a bargain. Pochettino does seem to like him, and the fact that Trippier is gone, Walker Peters seems to be playing in the pre-season. I think that maybe Walker Peters could be a good 1 week punt for game week 1, so to speak. Any more thoughts in here? I mean, the chat, I mean, it's been fantastic. I know that you guys have been chatting with each other all this morning and everything, and I think what I'll do is I'll just I'll just quickly bring in Statman, Kevin. Hello, Statman. We're about to go off air, but we did bring up your picture of the 131. If you want to just briefly gloat about it again, briefly.
That's why I popped back on, Steve. I've got to take my moment of glory.
No, you carry on, my friend. You take it away.
No, it was funny because I'll always remember I had double City at the time, Sterling and Sane, going into the Christmas period. And I think Fernandinho had got injured or something, and they'd had a draw or their first defeat or something, and Ole had just got appointed, something along them lines. And I didn't have Salah at the time. I think it was when everyone was hopping off Salah. So I made 2 transfers. That's what the -4 was for. And I took Sane, Sterling out. I went Pogba, Salah. both of them scored a brace. I had Hazard who scored a brace. Like, my whole midfield netted about 10 goals, clean sheets at the back. Strikers came through. And yeah, it was one of them weekends you'll not forget. In our league, it's quite, the banter's hardcore, and all of the lads had to, just pay their respects. But also, I'd like to say with the Cash League, I'll definitely be joining, but it gets even more competitive with money on the line. We'd have lads like throwing red herrings out, so they've made 2 transfers and they wouldn't post what they were, but they'd be revealing what they were, but it wouldn't be what they'd done. And it gets quite underhand, it gets a bit sneaky. And then the game week comes and the deadline passes, and you think, damn, I tried to block him because I thought he was going to go for that. He said he went for that player, and it's good. I'm looking forward to it. And if I can get the details for your guys' Cash League, I'll definitely be joining for sure.
It's just to let not just yourself know, but for everybody that's listening to this thing in Cash Mini League, what's going on here. So basically, if you're in the Discord group, I'm sure FPL Boone or Daily Llama, if he's there, or somebody has the link to the Discord group, by all means post up. Also, I will say that the Discord group is actually in the description of this video as well, so the link is actually in the description. Just a quick point actually, Kevin, that the time of game week 19 is when Man City lost 3-2 at home to Crystal Palace and then lost to Leicester 2-1, and then they went and beat Southampton, I think in game week 19 3-1. So yeah, it looked like because I remember this. It's like you said, when Fernandinho got injured, and it was just like, oh, without Fernandinho, City are just rubbish. But Kevin, thank you for joining me live this morning on this very early morning. Oh, he's gone now. This very early morning stream there. Right then, everybody, I think I'll do my typical thank you, FPL Boone. FPL Boone, they're just posting up the link in the chat. So I think I'll just do the usual admin, to be honest with you, and we'll clear off into the day, basically. What can I say? I did tweet out about it, and our Twitter is at Elite FPL. In fact, do you know what? Let's put up a better screen. Typical. What am I doing here? I'll bring up the Twitter in a second. But yeah, I did post out on Twitter earlier on at Elite FPL that I think that's one of the best interactive shows that we've had so far this season. I've got to say that these shows are getting more and more enjoyable. I think people now are getting used to the format. I think people are understanding that, to talk about your team. I keep banging on about this. I don't really want to be talking. I'd rather just sit back, listen, and hear the ideas that have been brought up by you guys. I mean, I can only say thank you very much to Kevin, FPL Boone, FPL Defender, Ozzy Boy earlier on for coming on, Boas Rice, of course, Ryan joining all the way from Libya. Thank you so much for being part of the show today. It's gone absolutely smoothly. Like I said, let's get on with the admin quickly. So anybody watching this right now, just simply hit that like button, just show your support for the stream itself. As I keep saying, it just tells YouTube that this is just a good video, and they'll like it, and they'll unofficially promote it, so to speak. But no, that aside, no, just show us your support by just simply hitting that like button. If you are new to the stream and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, that notification button. Like I said, these streams are all impromptu. This morning, obviously, it's not quite impromptu, but I did post about it on the Twitter and Discord specifically. So again, at Elite FPL on Twitter, to find out news when we're going to be going live. Obviously, if you hit that notification button, obviously it will pop up and you'll know that we are live. So yeah, just hit that subscribe button and away we go. Other than that, this is day 5 or day 6 of 6 shows in a row now with myself. Yesterday we did a evening stream with Jason, which was fantastic. The other day we did one celebrating our 1,000 subscribers that we hit. We have now surpassed that. We are just growing and growing. It's absolutely fantastic. You guys in the community are just absolutely wonderful, showing your support for this specific stream. I have no idea when I'm going to be doing this tomorrow. It could be another early morning one because I'm not available in the evening. So it could potentially be another morning stream. And like I said in the title, this is one for the guys in Australia, New Zealand, China, Japan, Thailand, as I saw earlier on. Quite extraordinary, really. But you guys have been absolutely amazing, and I am going to end it there. So thanks very much, and I will see you tomorrow. Take it easy, guys.